Wir gucken jetzt.
We introduce you to the Druid in Path of Exile 2, but one of the things that we're really focusing on now is how varied each of the classes feels to play. The Monk darts around quickly from enemy to enemy,
Ja, das
building
wissen
and
wir.
unleashing combos. If he doesn't stay in combat, he loses momentum and has to build it up again. The Warrior, on the other hand, is like a slow but unstoppable freight train. A warrior commits to big attacks and relies on stunning his enemies to stay safe in the thick of combat. When an opening presents itself, a warrior can use even larger attacks to demolish his enemies. The Huntress seamlessly moves from melee to ranged combat and back. The true damage potential of the Huntress is only unlocked when you learn to combine ranged and melee abilities together. And then there are the Spellcasters. The Sorceress is a pure caster who much prefers to stay at range and drop powerful spells on her foes. If she finds herself surrounded by enemies, she would rather use an ability
Das
to
kennen wir
escape than
bereits
to take
alles.
them on directly. The Druid is also a spellcaster, but unlike the Sorceress, he uses his spells as a means to support his melee abilities. And by melee abilities, we mean he can turn into a giant animal. And rip
Das
his
ist ein
enemies to
Spiel,
pieces.
Junge. Kack auf Diablo 4. Blizzard kann Path of Exile niemals das was erreichen. Oh,
Each of these classes feels extremely different to play, but we want to go even further. It's time to check out the Mercenary.
oh, Mercenary. Der
There's
Söldner.
not a job out there I won't take. So long as the pay's good.
Ja, ich glaube, der
and
Joghurt
the
ist
crossbow
abgelaufen.
can solve it.
Okay. Was ist das, ein Ego-Shooter?
I'll take 'em all down, one bolt at a time.
When thinking about each new class, we really try to think about how we can make combat feel different from all the others. For the Mercenary, that difference is the crossbow. A crossbow is fundamentally different than a regular bow because it fires instantly instead of needing to be drawn back.
Richtig, ja.
This means that you need immediate feedback. Clicking the fire button should make the character shoot instantly, just like in a shooter. As soon as we experienced that, we realized that there are a lot of design lessons to learn from shooters, and so we fully embraced them. In Path of Exile 2, we have crossbows that work like sniper rifles, shotguns, and assault rifles.
Wo mal stehen geblieben?
But in order to really get shooter-like gameplay, we wanted to go further. In Path of Exile 2, we now support WASD movement. You can now walk around in any direction independent of aiming. In fact, if this is your preferred method of gameplay, you can use it on any class, regardless of what weapon type you're using.
Das ist gut. Das kannst du auch in Path of Exile mit WASD dich bewegen. Mit jeder Klasse, nicht nur mit dem Söldner. Das
You can
ist
change
gut.
between click to move or WASD at any time. You can only hold 2 crossbows at a time, but Path of Exile 2 is all about interesting combinations of abilities, and this is where ammo skills come in.
Oh, okay. Ammo's good.
This is a burst shot crossbow, and right now I have armor-piercing ammo equipped, which makes it very effective when facing a group of enemies, since it pierces right through them.
Bloody horrors!
But there are other ammos too. For a bigger single target, it might be a good idea to switch to Incendiary. The more projectiles hit the target, the stronger the ignite, so you'll want to get up nice, close and personal with this one.
Macht Sinn,
If you have
ja.
a bunch of targets running at you, you might want to slow them down. In this case, you could switch to Permafrost Burst Shot. Shooting a bunch of smaller enemies at range will chill them, and potentially even freeze them in place.
Das
Once
ist
you
nur
have
ein
some frozen
Bruchteil.
enemies though, you can switch back to Armor Piercing.
Was man in Path of
Shooting
Exile
a frozen
machen
enemy
kann.
with Armor Piercing Burst Shot will explode the ice, doing a huge amount of damage to all nearby enemies. Another feature crossbows have is attachments. This is a grenade launcher. As you can see, when I equip it, it appears on the underside of the crossbow. These attachments are just like skill
nice.
gems, so you effectively get extra skill slots. And you can augment these with support gems, just like regular skills.
PoE Exile 1 sieht ja garbage aus, ne? Also die Charaktere und die Klamotten. Und der sieht ganz regulär aus und ich hoffe, das ist kein Skin oder so, das man kaufen kann, sondern das ist einfach von den Klamotten.
slots, and you can augment these with these attachments
Hier.
are just like
Ja, ja, zeig mal, hier.
you can see. When I equip it, it appears on the underside of the
Hier. Wobei die Handschuhe sieht man da gar nicht. Das heißt, boah, ich habe keine Ahnung, aber ich hoffe, dass die Klamotten
crossbow.
besser aussehen.
These attachments are just like skill gems, so you effectively get extra skill slots, and you can augment these with support gems, just like regular skills. These grenades take a while to explode, so it's a good idea to pair them with some kind of crowd control, like permafrost burst shot.
Okay. Kombination aus verschiedenen Fähigkeiten. Das ist nicht schlecht.
We have other grenades too, though. This attachment is a flash grenade. It does barely any damage, but it does a huge amount of stun. It can be a great opener before you run into combat.
Man geslaut.
Surprise!
Bisschen schlecht gespielt, ne?
Now, here's another attachment, an oil grenade. Firing one of these grenades coats the ground and nearby enemies in oil. Oil slows enemies down, so it's another useful crowd control mechanic.
Und wenn du da Feuer drauf machst, brennt das alles. Oder? Natürlich. Ist bei PoE Exile. Mach Feuer.
Now, another thing that oil can do is be set on fire. Any burning enemy or explosion will ignite the oil, causing extra burning damage.
Er sagt sogar, jeder
One of the
brennende
problems
Gegner.
with burst shot crossbows is that each pellet doesn't do much damage individually. This means that if enemies have armor, then it will be very effective preventing that damage. But thankfully, you can equip an additional crossbow in your second weapon set to deal with the weaknesses of your primary weapon. This is a rapid shot crossbow. Rapid shot is great for closing on enemies because you can shoot while running. In Path of Exile 2, we now have the ability to allow you to use some skills while moving. Being able to create skills like this opens up a lot of new design space
Ja.
and allows us to really increase the pace of combat.
Vor allem, weil es dann alles dynamischer ist. Was los?
The armor-piercing version of Rapid Shot slowly erodes a monster's armor. Once the armor is fully broken, you can easily switch back to Burst Shot to deal much more damage. Being able to run while shooting with Rapid Shot is also great for when you want to perform a fighting retreat.
Reload!
Using permafrost ammo with Rapid Shot is also useful if you need to retreat. When you shoot the ground, it creates ice crystals. If you draw monsters back over these crystals, they explode, chilling the monsters. It's great if you want to set up a safe zone before pulling the next pack.
Okay. Oh, hast du gesehen da
Slowing
unten?
enemies down can come in handy if you want to use the incendiary version of Rapid Shot. Using this skill requires that you charge up a little bit before it fires. But as it continues to heat up, it will do more and more damage.
Junge! Gatling Gun!
It has a really large clip size, so you can just keep firing and firing with it. But the other really useful feature is that when the crossbow is heated up, it adds extra fire damage to any grenade that you launch.
Ich sehe schon so viele Leute, die das spielen werden. Also, allein durch den Mercenary ist das Spiel 10-mal besser als Diablo 4. Diablo 4 ist einfach ein Rotz-Game, genauso wie
Now I've been
Blizzard.
using explosive grenades here, but it will work
Holy.
equally as well with flash or oil grenades too. If you use it with oil grenades, the oil will catch fire immediately.
Oh, fast gestorben, ne?
Another crossbow type that you can find is Power Shot. This one works just like a classic sniper rifle. Use it with armor-piercing ammo and it will penetrate armor on targets. So it's a good idea to use when something's really tough.
Ich habe vergessen, das Spiel, die Reaction hier aufzunehmen. Ich muss nachher ins Twitch
Now this
reingehen.
skill has another interesting interaction with armor break.
Und das
If an enemy has
VOD
its armor broken, then your power shot hits a weak spot and does a
zusammenschneiden.
huge amount of single target damage, with a bunch of extra stun for good measure.
Oh, 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 fast tot. Piu, 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 piu. Always. Okay. Sieht aber auf jeden Fall richtig nice aus. Hat was von
Now, the
Bloodborne.
incendiary version of Power Shot is more like a rocket launcher. It does a big explosive blast at a distance.
Also das sieht ziemlich nice aus und ich würde den bestimmt mal austesten.
One of
Aber
the
ich
really
glaube
useful
nicht, dass der
features
mein
of this
Main
version
wird.
is that you can explode any grenades that happen to be on the ground.
Nice, okay.
This combo also works really well with incendiary rapid shot. I'm going to charge up the heat on my crossbow, shoot out a bunch of grenades, and then start the fireworks with a power shot.
Nice. Junge, die Grafik sieht so
Ice
gut
version
aus.
of Power Shot creates frost walls at a distance.
Ich glaube, ich brauche
This is great
dafür
for
einen
crowd controlling
neuen
monsters in
Prozessor.
tight passages. The wall segments have other uses too. If they get destroyed by monsters, then they will explode, doing a small amount of damage.
Aber man kann die da auch selber kaputt machen.
Now, remember that burst shot combo with frozen enemies we did earlier? That works with ice walls too. Let's put burst shot back on. Now I can fill up this area with ice walls, then shoot them with armor-piercing burst shot for a huge amount of damage.
Oh, nice. Das sieht auch so geil aus. Guck mal.
Alright, it's time to face the boss for this area. Let's see
Okay.
how we fare against her with all the skills I've shown you so far.
Ein neuer Boss. Damn. Look at these titties.
Stay still, the mother!
Lauf, Junge, lauf. Oh. Oh shit. Da war ein Kind geboren. Oh mein Boy, Junge, das ist aber... Oh, das Missvieh! Oh, wird das erwachsen? Junge, das sieht aus wie so ein Titan. Attack on Titan. Oh shit, noch mehr kleine... Biu, 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 biu. Oh shit, er ist gleich tot. Ist eh Vorschau, also er stirbt nicht. Oh. Die machen das schon kaputt, wenn sie da durchgehen. Das ist eine richtig gute Idee. Oh, nice damage. Packt sie noch ein Kind raus, oder was? The Unwanted heißt das Kind. Das Ungewollte. Bad Life. Yeah, gut. No way. Oh, er hat sie interrupted. Als sie gerade casten wollte. Die so, come my children. Nice, das macht übelst viel Damage.
What is going on in this godforsaken city?
And that's the Mercenary. It feels totally different than anything we've made before, and shows you the range of what's possible in Path of Exile 2.
Junge. Path of Exile 2. What the frick? What the frick? Nice, was kommt jetzt? Okay.
We're going to be showing off a lot more about Path of Exile 2 as we approach its beta, but in the meantime, we've got a Path of Exile 1 expansion coming out next week. I'm going to hand over to Mark, also known as Neon, to show you what's in store for POE 1.
Thanks, Jonathan. Well, let's just go ahead and get straight on into it. Here's the trailer for Path of Exile Affliction.
Something moves in the mists. Something sinister.
Sieht nice aus, ne?
Rot, plague, and claw. The afflictions.
Das sieht so gut aus. Das sieht schon fast wie Path of Exile 2 aus. Jetzt nicht mehr.
Tread lightly in the wildwood, which shifts and bites. Accept our help, the ancient power of the Asmiri.
Noch ein
Beware
Akzident?
the spirits.
Nee, das glaube ich
Yearn for
nicht.
freedom.
Ich glaube, das ist ein bisschen zu
And the
laut,
heart
ne?
of evil that waits in the dark.
The Affliction Challenge. Damn.
Ready yourself.
The Return of Ultimatum. Damn. Ich muss mir die ganzen Reaktionen von den anderen Pro-Gamern und Streamern ansehen. Ich muss. Wir haben schon eine Unterklasse. Haben wir dann noch eine Unterklasse? Oder ersetzt das eine der... Ah, okay. Ruhe.
Which beckon you to enter overgrown passageways that lead to the Viridian Wildwood.
Das ist ein Skin nebenbei, ne? Denk nicht, dass das Spiel wirklich so gut aussieht. Obwohl er Max-Level ist, sieht er bestimmt aus wie ein Level 10er. Okay, pst.
As you approach the darkness, the wisps burn away its affliction. Make sure you tread carefully, because they only have a limited amount of power. But be warned, the darkness is full of cursed monsters that emerge to kill you. As you explore, you might see other types of wisps trapped inside the darkness. The Wildwood is trying to guide you towards clues about its affliction. Follow the trails of wisps by collecting them, and you may uncover many different secrets. New characters to find, shrines, boss battles, and all kinds of new encounters are lurking in the forest just waiting for you to discover them. There are many rewards to earn for those brave enough to seek them. When the sacred wisps run out of energy, they will return you.
Sein Outfit passt zu seinen Skills. Aber das ist meistens so mit den Trailern. Beziehungsweise hier jetzt Content
Where
Review.
you came from. Any other types of wisps you have collected will return with you to Rayclast.
Okay.
These wisps, having been saved from the affliction, disperse into the environment and inhabit randomly chosen monsters in the area, increasing their power and also their rewards. The different types of wisps have different effects on monsters, and sometimes more than one type will inhabit a single monster, making the fight even harder and even more rewarding.
Nice,
If
gut
this
für
happens to a
Hardcore.
boss, you could be in for a tough fight, but if you can overcome it, your efforts will not be in vain.
Okay, show me.
Primal
Was droppst
wisps
du?
grant an item rarity bonus to inhabited monsters.
Okay,
Wild wisps grant an item quantity bonus, and vivid wisps cause them to drop currency items. If a monster gets all three types, they'll drop more items of a higher rarity and a lot of currency. While
Das ist
exploring the
krass.
Wildwood, you might find some of the last few Asmeri wanderers who have managed to survive in the forest since it
Oh,
was
shit.
cursed. Each of them have different survival specializations, and they are willing to teach you if you agree to help them defeat the source of the affliction, the King in the Mists. Choose which of the Asmeri that you will complete quests for to unlock one of 3 new Ascendancy classes, which you can have in addition to your regular Ascendancy class. Up
Nice,
to 8 points
Junge.
for these classes are unlocked as you complete more quests for the Asmeri you are training under. The
Okay.
Warden of Eves can teach you to become a Warden of the Magi, a powerful class that takes advantage of wilderness knowledge. A Warden of the Magi can learn to use tinctures which coat their weapon, granting various powerful effects. You can equip tinctures in your flask slots and toggle them on and off at will. You can only have one enabled at a time, but the effects are quite conditional, so you may want to have more than one equipped and swap between them during combat.
Oh, das finde ich nicht gut, vor allem für auch neue Spieler. Die wissen nicht, wie man seine Bottles und so da managt und was wichtig ist und was nicht. Viele brauchen noch Mana-Flaschen. Und wenn du dann eine Lebensflasche, eine Mana-Flasche und dann hast noch ein paar Sustains, also damit du halt nicht weggerotzt wirst, dann wird man keinen Platz mehr für diese
For
neuen
example,
haben.
equip the Ironwood Tincture to gain the benefit of always stunning enemies on full life.
Finde ich nicht so gut.
Tinctures can also get random mods. This one in particular adds stacks of wither to targets on full life and steals frenzy charges on hit, which makes it great as an initiator.
Nice, okay.
When you are fighting rare monsters or finishing off tough bosses, you will want to swap to the Oak Branch Tincture, which grants Culling Strike, increased damage against enemies on low life, and has a chance to steal a mod from rare enemies you kill.
Nice.
You can buy more tinctures from the Warden of Eves using Primal Wisps when you find her in the forest, so keep an eye out for her. As a Warden of the Magi gains more ascendancy points, they gain access to more skills that let them further specialize in tinctures. For example, Nature's Concoction allows you to invest in having your tinctures enhance your flasks. This
Was?
ascendant-
Bless I gain free charge when you hit an enemy with a weapon, no more than once. Okay, that have increased effect when you use. Okay.
skill makes it important to think about which slots your tinctures are placed in and what flasks they are adjacent to. You will have better uptime on those flasks and they'll be stronger as a result. But there are plenty more skills to choose even if you don't want to engage with tinctures. For
Okay.
example, another new ability to unlock is Bark Skin. It's a reservation skill that causes bark to grow all over your body, increasing armor. As you take damage,
Okay.
the bark falls off, increasing your evasion. Over time, the bark will grow back, removing the evasion bonus but increasing your armor again.
Das ist mega strong.
The Breaker of Oaths can teach you to become a Warlock of the Mists, an ascendancy class specializing in the darker arts of the Esmeri.
Das hört sich so nice an, ey.
One powerful ability you can choose is Blood Hunt, which grants an active skill called Ravenous. This skill lets you see what type a monster is under its life bar, whether it is a demon, beast, undead, construct, or humanoid. Consuming a corpse with this skill gives a buff to damage against that type of monster and reduces damage taken by it. You can only have one type active at a time, so it's a good
Das
idea
ist
to choose wisely
nice.
for the
Du
area
kannst ihn
that you're in.
konsumen, das heißt, wenn du Menschen konsumst, machst du auch
Some
mehr
bosses
Damage
like the
an.
Maven are eldritch in nature and don't conform to the regular corpses that you have access to. But don't worry. The Breaker of Oaths has a shop where you can trade wild wisps for corpses that you can place on the ground wherever you are.
Oh.
Buy an eldritch corpse and you will be able to get the bonus while fighting eldritch entities.
Und dann
like the
konsumst du
Maven.
das. Weil man ja Bosse und so nicht mehrfach. Oh nein, das ist falsch formuliert. Weil es sie ja nicht zeitgleich mehrfach gibt. Das heißt, du könntest dann den einen töten, dann konsumieren und dann weiter den anderen töten. Kannst du von vornherein einfach eine Leiche nehmen und den konsumieren, dann kriegst du mehr Damage für diesen Type und kriegst weniger Damage von diesem Type. Von Monster.
You may notice that most of the corpses he sells are not monsters you normally encounter.
Perfekt,
You might want to
dieser.
try turning some of these corpses into specters to take advantage of some of the unique abilities that these monsters have.
Junge! Megan! Oho! Okay, ich mache einen Totenbeschwörer.
The Warlock of the Mists gets access to many other abilities. For example, there is a trio of curses that you can pick from.
Okay, was ist das? Das ist
One
Curse,
of
also
these curses
Flüche.
targets your minions, giving them life degen and making them explode for massive damage when they are near death. One of them prevents enemies from dealing damage for the latter portion of its duration, which is quite powerful against bosses. This curse creates the interesting build decision of whether or not you should increase curse duration or reduce it.
Okay.
The final curse is a mark that causes enemy phantasms to be spawned when you
Das
hit
habe
the
ich nicht,
mark
das zweite
enemy.
habe ich nicht richtig verstanden.
These phantasms aren't on your side, so they work well with on-hit and on-kill trigger effects, for example. The Primal Huntress can teach you to become a Wildwood Primalist.
Okay, das ist die dritte.
Unlike the other new ascendancies, the Primal Huntress lets you customize your tree.
Oh, Junge, warum ist Path of Exile einfach tausendmal besser als Diablo Rotz Game, ey?
You do this with charms that you can buy from the Primal Huntress for Vivid Wisps. Charms have randomly generated mods, which give stats from regular Ascendancy classes, allowing you to create your own hybrid Ascendancy class.
Das ist nice.
Charms are magic items that are aligned with different attributes. So for example, this Ursine charm is strength aligned and has gotten the melee hits have a chance to fortify stat from the champion.
Das ist mega nice. Ja, hat er gerade gesagt von Champion, also der Duelist, der mit dem Messer so, mit dem Messer sage ich, mit dem Rapier ist, oder mit dem Schwert, na, ist ein Rapier, glaube ich. Movement speed cannot be modified to below base value, nice.
And the ability to stop your movement speed going below base from the Juggernaut. This interlined Corvine charm lets you get the stat that makes your consecrated ground effects linger from the Inquisitor, and the effect that makes cursed enemies explode from the Occultist.
Das ist
Some of the
fucking
combination
gut.
of mods that you might find for sale on charms can be
Das ist richtig gut. Dann kannst du zum ersten, nein, nicht zum ersten Mal, dieser Skion kann das auch. Kann auch mehrere Aszendenzen nehmen von verschiedenen Klassen. Das Problem ist, damit hast du noch. Stell dir mal vor, mit Sion kannst du ja zum Beispiel Flüche gehen und du kannst den von dem Marauder gehen. Zum Beispiel, du bist ein tankiger Fluchmeister. Sowas. Und wenn du dann noch dieses hier nimmst, dann könntest du noch zu dem Duellisten gehen als Champion, wo du dann magische Geschosse und Physical Damage reflektierst. Und dann, da du ja mehrere Möglichkeiten hast, bis zu 4 Slots, kannst du noch zu dem Ranger gehen. Hört sich ziemlich nice an. Aber leider kenne ich mich nicht so gut damit aus, dass ich daraus ein richtig geilen Bild machen kann.
extremely
Egal.
powerful. So keep a lookout for the Primal Huntress's shop, even if you are not playing as a Primalist. As a Primalist, you also get access to a few other interesting abilities.
What's
Use
that?
Warcries next to corpses and they have a chance to drop an extra item.
Das hat Diablo
It opens
2.
nearby chests too.
Oh, cool. Da brauchst du nicht mal
Primalist also
anklicken.
gets access to a small extra backpack, just in case you find yourself needing to cart more items to town during your map runs.
Mehr Inventarplatz?
If you are
Nein,
unhappy
aber die ist auf. Oh, das hört sich so gut an. Oh.
with the class you picked, or you just happen to find a really great item for another one of the classes, you are able to change which class you are using next time you find one of the Asmeri Wanderers. Just remember that you will have to do their quests in order to gain the Ascendancy points for that class.
Man hat maximal 8 Stück.
These quests will lead you towards the ultimate goal of the Asmeri, finding the King in the Mists, defeating him, and cleansing the forest of its affliction once and for all. There are new uniques to find, rewards to claim, and new Ascendancy classes to master in the Affliction League. Now that we've covered what's in the League, let's talk about some of the changes you can expect to the core game in 3.23.
Okay.
For a start, Ultimatum is finally going core. When talking to players at ExileCon, it was the #1 feature that people requested. When playing through endgame maps, you may sometimes encounter the Trial Master, who offers you a choice to undertake a deadly Val trial in exchange for great rewards.
Nice.
If you defeat the trial, he offers to go double or nothing with you.
Ja,
Do you take
das
the
ist
risk and go
geil.
for an
Das,
even
das
better
gefällt
reward?
mir.
Or do you take the winnings you have
Ich
already
bin
earned
so
off the
froh, dass sie
table
das
and go?
reingenommen
We've done a
haben.
full rebalance of Ultimatum and have added many new mods and rewards, including both new and reworked uniques. The base number of rounds for an Ultimatum trial is now always 10, with a chance to spawn the Trial Master boss fight on the 10th round, if you are able to make it that far. As part of 3.23, we have also removed Metamorph from the game. All the Catalyst rewards from Metamorph have now been moved to be rewards for Ultimatum.
Das finde ich zwar schade, aber das ist besser für das Spiel und auch angenehmer für Pro-Gamer und für Casual-Spieler. Metamorph, da hast du Organe gesammelt von Monstern, das wurde random immer verteilt. Und dann konntest du sie zu einem Mega-Ultra, das war eine nice Idee, und dann konntest du noch ein Mega-Ultra-Monster machen, der in sich auch noch ein Monster trug. Das war richtig lustig und mega nice. Und ein bisschen Abfuck, weil ich manche Monster gar nicht töten konnte, weil ich die immer voll gepumpt habe mit Legendaries, also mit Legendary-Organ. War richtig witzig auf jeden Fall, aber ich bin froh, dass sie den rausgenommen haben, aber Aspekte davon, oder auch 1:1, weiß ich jetzt gerade nicht, in diese League-Mechanik implementieren. Das heißt, wir haben eine League-Mechanik weniger, das heißt weniger Kopfschmerzen, weniger Zeitverschwendung, weniger Zeit, mit dem wir uns hier auseinandersetzen müssen, und smoother Gameplay.
Also added a new Val-themed catalyst that works on corrupted items.
Oh, cool.
As is normal for most content that gets added to endgame, we have introduced new ultimatum passive skills to the Atlas tree.
Mhm.
One great example is the Keystone Grueling Gauntlet. It makes ultimatums last 3 extra rounds,
Ultimate in your maps last 3, okay.
but you cannot choose the modifiers, and it prevents the final Trial Master boss fight from spawning. The level
Oh,
of challenge becomes extreme during the last 3 rounds, and not being able to choose the modifiers makes it even harder. The
ja.
rewards are insane, and for those with very high-end characters, it might be a bet worth making. There are lots of other Atlas passive skills you can pick from for Ultimatum, so choose wisely. Now, it's time to talk about one of the largest metagame changes we've ever made.
Oh.
There were 3 systems in Path of Exile.
Auch wenn ich die letzten Lieges nicht gespielt habe, also die Seasons nicht gespielt habe, hype ich immer mein Ass weg.
They were all trying to subtly modify the behavior of skills. These were alternate quality gems, Labyrinth Helmet enchants, and unique threshold jewels. We've combined all of these together to create a new system called Transfigured Gems that allows us to fully achieve the goal of these 3 systems and then some. Transfigured Gems are alternative versions of existing skill gems that have different functionality and balance from their regular versions. We have added a huge number of these with interesting variations that drastically change how existing skills play. For example, Frostbomb of Instability. It changes it from a cooldown skill that you can cast occasionally for a large explosion
Das ist
into a skill
normale?
that you can cast continuously but deals less damage and doesn't apply cold exposure. It changes the role of Frostbomb from a utility skill into a main damaging skill.
Okay.
Another example is Detonate
War
Death
doch
of
nicht.
Scavenging. You can't use it on corpses that were created by Desecrate or Unearth, but in exchange it does a whole lot more damage. You won't be able to use it as your main reliable source of damage, but it's a great skill to use as a 4-link utility to get some extreme burst damage. Raise Zombie of Falling. Instead of raising a zombie from a corpse, you summon them from mid-air. They fall to their death, dealing AoE damage where they land. While this sounds like a physical damage version of Firestorm, you should consider that it scales with minion damage and also triggers on-death minion effects.
Das ist lustig. Das ist so wie fliegende Kühe, aber fliegende Zombies.
Blight of
Die
Contagion.
fliegen einfach von oben. So, biu,
This
biu.
version of Blight is now spread by Contagion, so you can use it as part of your Essence Drain build. We have a huge number of these. Transfigure Firestorm into Firestorm with Meteors, Transfigure Blade Trap into Blade Trap of Greatswords, Transfigure Barrage into Barrage of Volley Fire, and so on. There is a lot to experiment with, and we look forward to seeing what builds you can come up with. But how do you get Transfigured Gems? The Divine Font at the end of the Eternal Labyrinth has been changed to a gem crafting device that can modify your skill and
Das war vorher nicht so. Das war vorher ein Fountain, das dir Spells auf deine, oder Passive auf deinen Handschuh, Kopf oder Boots gegeben hat. Schuhe. Dass du zum Beispiel, wenn du ein Monster tötest, explodiert es danach. Sowas hattest du dann halt bekommen.
support gems in a lot of new ways.
Sacrifice a gem to gain 30% of the gem total experience stored as you. Oh!
One of the options you can now choose is to turn a skill gem into one of 3 transfigured gems. But that isn't all the Divine Font can do. It has a lot of other gem crafting options you can use. For example, you can add quality to gems, add experience to gems, sacrifice a gem for 1 or more treasure keys to open Azara's chests, and you can even exchange support gems for exceptional support gems like Empower or Enlighten. These are just some of the options you'll find the Divine Font is now capable of. In order to replace the rewards in Heist that previously gave alternate quality gems, we have done a rebalance of the rewards of Heist as well.
Ich wünsche, Heist würde auch rausgehen. Heist ist einfach zu viel. Ich wünsche, Heist würde in was anderes
Experiments-
implementiert werden.
Base types have been rebalanced. New replica uniques have been added and old ones changed, and we have increased the amount of currency from display cases as well.
Okay,
On
nice.
top of this, we have gone through and buffed the quality stats on most damage dealing skills. In
Nice.
most cases, they will be significantly more powerful than before, and also more interesting. Overall, this is one of the largest metagame shifts that we've ever done. There are so many crazy new skill combinations to plan around,
Ja.
so we expect to see some really interesting new builds. Next up, I'd like to hand back over to Chris to talk about the new supporter packs.
Okay, jetzt geht's nur ums Geld machen. Aber
At
ich
this
freue
point,
mich.
we'd usually talk about the League supporter packs. We're doing things a bit differently this year.
Oh,
Rather than releasing League supporter packs today and then our annual core packs 2 weeks later, we have combined it all together into a strong set of core supporter packs that will be released alongside Path of Exile Affliction next week. The series contains 5 packs, each with its full value in points and a collection of exclusive cosmetic microtransactions. The higher packs contain physical merchandise. We'll unveil the full details of each of the packs at release next week, but in the meantime, here's a sneak peek of some of their exclusive cosmetic microtransactions. These packs will be available for purchase when Path of Exile Affliction launches on the 8th of December. Thank you so much for your ongoing support.
kein Problem. Zeig. Oh, nice.
We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, we'll post Path of Exile Affliction's full patch notes. With the release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for Affliction's release. Keep an eye on the news.
Müsste
On
schon
release
draußen
weekend,
sein,
we
oder?
expect to launch the new mystery box and this season's Kyrix Vault Pass. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to exploring the Viridian Wildwood with you next week. We'll begin
Nice.
the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
Puh, das hat sich doch richtig gut angehört, ne? Ich bin auf jeden Fall gehypt.